Hello, this is John Ramont. Ủa, cái năm mình
Julia, are you there? Julia? Julia? Testing, is anyone there?
I hear you.
Yes, I'm here. This
Who is
is
there?
Joel.
Joel? Who else is there?
Mike
Who?
Hadley.
Okay, Mike. Anyone else?
John Ramont.
John, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I'm having some computer glitches today. That's why I keep checking.
Sound loud and clear.
Good. Who was that? Can you repeat? Can you repeat that? Joined us.
That would be me, Trustee Young.
That was who? Julia?
This is Julia.
Julia?
Yes, hi.
Okay. Yeah, I have our agenda on the screen, and so I'm having trouble seeing who is on at the same time. So
From my end, I have myself, you, Dr. Kinnaman, Mike Hadley, and Jonathan Gorges, who are assisting with hosting and screen sharing today. And then I have Vice President John Ramont logged in.
okay. All right. So I think we're set. And just waiting for others. Julia, when you open the agenda dominates the screen. Is that the way it's supposed to be?
Yes.
Okay.
And you can minimize it if you choose to do so by clicking that button on the top right-hand corner of your screen that has the two little squares if you want to minimize it a little bit.
Okay. No, that's probably okay, but we'll just need to, if you could monitor who's on.
Yes, no problem.
Thank you. For those of you who may not have been listening to the news, Bernie Sanders has suspended his campaign. Julia, there was a message that someone was locked out. Did you see that?
I do not see that. Let me see it from my screen. Miguel Pena, do I have you just logged in as well?
Okay, there was a...
I'm here on the phone also, Julia.
Thank you.
there was a pop-up that said someone was locked out. So it came so fast I didn't see who it was.
Good morning, this is Carlos.
Good morning, Carlos. Trustee Young, I will troubleshoot that offline so I'm not taking over the recording.
Okay. But did you see who was locked out?
It was Ariane
I
Schultz.
do not.
Ariane Schultz. She was locked out of one of her accounts.
Oh, thank you, Hadley.
Thank you.
I don't know who's sharing their screen, but it's popping up. All their emails are popping up on their screen. That's what's happening.
I see it. Same thing happening to me now.
Jonathan, are you able to troubleshoot and remove their access from screen share? Vice President Baker, do I have you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Good morning, this is Bob Hargreaves.
Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, this is Trustee Wilson.
Good morning, Trustee Wilson.
Is that you, Julia?
It is. Good morning.
Mark?
Oh, hi, Mark. Hi, Julia.
Mark
How are you
Sicily.
holding?
I'm good. Thank you.
So good to hear you.
You as
This
well.
is Ruben.
Good morning, Trustee Perez. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Julia. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
This is Aurora.
Leah, how many trustees have checked in?
I have Trustee Perez, Trustee Wilson, yourself, and I am pending Student Trustee Garcia, Stefan, and Sanchez Fulton.
I missed the last part. Could you repeat that?
Sure. I'm pending Student Trustee Garcia, Trustee Stefan, and Trustee Sanchez Fulton.
Are not here yet.
I do not show them logged in at this time.
Okay, thank you. Let's wait a minute or two.
Morning. This is Aurora.
This is Mac.
Good morning, Mac. Thank you. Can you please mute your phone until we get to your item?
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Carlos, this is Fred. Just in an emergency, what is a minimum number of people we need?
You would still have to meet quorum, so you would need 3.
We have 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Julia, you've received no emails or calls?
I have not received any at this time.
Okay, from the trustees.
I have student trustee Garcia on the line.
Okay.
Hello, this is Kiana.
Thank you. Carlos, what is an appropriate time to wait?
It's up to you, Mr. Chair. You can, once you meet quorum and you've met the posted time, you can convene the meeting.
All right. I think we will convene and others can join then as we have a quorum. Okay. The regular meeting of the Desert Community College District Board of Trustees is now called to order at 9:33 a.m. Today's Board of Trustees meeting is being transmitted via live stream from the district website, www.collegeofthedesert.edu. President Kenneman, will you conduct a roll call?
Yes. Student trustee Garcia,
Present.
trustee Stefan, trustee Perez,
Present.
trustee Wilson,
Present.
trustee Sanchez Fulton, trustee Yant.
Present. Trustee Wilson, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes. Please place your hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag
to the flag of the United States of America,
of the States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
nation,
under God.
under God.
Indivisible,
Liberty and justice for all.
justice.
Thank you.
Trustee Mary Jane.
Thank you. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2B2, the board may take action on items of business not appearing on the posted agenda upon a determination by a 2/3 vote of the board, or less than 2/3 of the members are present, or unanimous vote of those present, that there is a need to take immediate action and that the need for the action came to the attention of the local agency subsequent to the agenda being posted as specified. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the agenda for April 8th, 2020?
There are none.
Hearing none, the agenda stands confirmed as presented. As we move through the meeting agenda today, I would like to ask that you please identify yourself before speaking, and please state when you are concluded with your comments during discussion items to streamline the meeting. Also, if you are not speaking at any given time, please remember to mute your phone so that we can have the least disruption possible. Approval of regular meeting minutes. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the regular meeting minutes of March 20th, 2020? Hearing none, they stand approved as presented. Public comments. In accordance with Executive Order N-25-20 and a guidance from the California Department of Public Health on gatherings, remote public participation is allowed and being accepted by email to otp@collegeofthedesert.edu and read into the record during public comment. Julia, have we received any requests?
We have not received any requests at this time.
Thank you. We now move to public updates. President Kenneman, updates on coronavirus COVID-19.
Thank you, Chairman. Riverside County Public Health Officer Dr. Cameron Kaiser released an order on April 1, 2020, directing all schools within the county to remain closed through June 19, 2020. The updated order brings more questions and challenges that we as a district will need to address. To the extent possible, we are using our regular planning and communication processes to make decisions around many important issues impacted by the extended closure. This new date takes us past the end of our spring semester and into the beginning of summer classes. Our summer session begins on Monday, June 22nd, 2020, and is entirely online. Registration for both fall and summer starts Monday, May 4th, 2020. The fall schedule is almost complete and will soon be distributed. Although we do not know what fall will hold in terms of requirements related to COVID-19, we do know that we will continue to provide the quality education our students and community expect and deserve. The Commencement Committee has met virtually and is working on a survey to send to students to get their input for our graduation celebration. All of our classes are now 100% distance learning, and we are continuing to provide support to our faculty and students for this new learning modality. Now that the transition is complete, our focus is on supporting and retaining our students. And although the interaction is virtual, all student services remain available to students. Counseling, financial aid, DSPS, Student Health Career Center, they are all continuing. Our Child Development Center teachers are doing drive-by visits to their children and parents, maintaining the personal connection while following the safety guidelines directed. PACE is exploring ways to offer adult personal enrichment classes online and working on a plan to provide online summer programs for our K-12 age students to replace robot camp. We are also finding ways to support the greater community in this unprecedented situation. Recently, our Director of Nursing and nursing faculty compiled a college personal protection equipment that will not be needed by our students this semester and donated it to Desert Regional Medical Center, John F. Kennedy Hospital, Eisenhower Medical Center, and the Desert AIDS Project. Supplies included gloves, hats, gowns, shoes, shoe covers, and masks, although not the medical grade N95. We also have 4 technicians using 3D printers to produce face shields. They have created 31 and are hoping to have 400 completed by Monday, and this is in response to local facilities that are most in need. Although this is an extremely challenging and rapidly changing situation, we are doing our best to meet the challenges and providing updates to our students, faculty, and staff on our website and through emails. In addition, I have joined with local emergency room physicians, internists, and local leaders to address unique challenges facing Coachella Valley. This past Monday, we met with Congressman Ruiz to discuss how we address this pandemic for our valley. The group is called the Coachella Valley Community COVID-19 Response. In addition, every morning, the COVID-19 response team at the college meets on the telephone, and every morning we find at least one way we've met this challenge that reminds us of the fact that we are a high quality institution and that in this uncertain time, we still have much to be grateful for. I know the Board of Trustees joins me in expressing our unending gratitude for each and every member of our college family. That concludes my public update.
Thank you, President Kinnaman. I perhaps neglected to say that there was slides available that trustees and people online could view, so those are available. And I should note that Trustee Stefan and Trustee Sanchez-Fulton have now joined us, so everyone is now here. And I should open it up if any trustee has a question at this time for President Kinnaman.
No.
None. All right.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yes.
First of all, I want to applaud Dr. Kinnaman for his leadership on our PPE supplies and the request from the community that came to the college. I, in particular, was very, very concerned because I received a lot of emails early on, and I applaud Dr. Kinnaman for partnering with all our local, I'm sure, the hospitals here in the Coachella Valley. So in that regard, I really, this was commendable because that is the need that, and we're able to help our community. Thank you, Chairman, and this ends my comment on that.
Anyone else? Thank you, President Kinnaman.
Thank you very much.
As we know, written reports are now the means of communication, and written reports that were submitted to the Office of the President will be included in the meeting minutes and posted online. Again, I want to emphasize to people who make reports that these are read by the trustees and considered very valuable and important, particularly at this time. If you have not sent over your written report, please do so before the end of business today by email to otp@collegeofthedesert.edu. And again, even though it's redundant, I want to emphasize the importance of these for trustee information and keeping everyone informed. We now move to comments from the governing board. Student Trustee Garcia.
Yes, for reports.
Yes, do you have comments?
Yes, I do.
Please go ahead.
So, thank you. It has been a pretty stressful transition, but I'm confident I'll be able to stay on top of my classes. Most of my teachers are all working very hard to stay in contact with us, and that's made it easier. I do have a couple of questions about what the rest of the year looks like, but that's all for now. This is the end of my comment.
You were asking for information about the rest of the semester?
Yes.
Okay. I've got that noted and we'll pass that on to President Kinnaman. Trustee.
Thank you.
Trustee Stefan.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to thank everyone that's working so hard to keep our students and our faculty safe and to make sure that they're online. And I know that there's a lot of concerns in the community with how many students are really able to keep up with the online capabilities that they might have or might not have at home. And that would be my major concern at this point. But I know that the faculty is working very hard at that. And I know that everybody's working very hard at that. And if we could just get an update of that in the future, sometime be brought up to date on that. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate everything that everyone in our community is doing. I just want to give a big shout out, thank you to everybody for everything they're doing to keep our community as safe and healthy as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. And I've noted your concern about student access, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, computer access particularly.
Oh, okay.
They might not have that.
Good. Trustee Perez?
Yes, I want to commend President Kinnaman and the rest of our administration and faculty for their updates on the COVID and all their efforts with the virus. I also want to commend our instructors, professors, and our students for taking on the task of distance learning. I know it hasn't been easy, but really commend you for doing that under these unprecedented times. And then I also want to thank our first responders and our people that are working in our grocery stores and our farm workers that are out still picking our crops, for working and for putting themselves in danger to make sure that our basic necessities are met every single day. And I too want to echo Trustee Steffen's concerns about the access to internet in some of our communities, such specifically our Eastern Coachella Valley and our Desert Hot Springs community, where there's a bit of a digital divide. I know our College of the Desert family is doing everything they can in order to make sure that our student needs are taken care of. But I'd like to see how it is that we're making sure that that's addressed. Thank you. That ends my comments.
Thank you, Chris. Those are certainly well taken. Trustee Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for your comments with regard to the monthly reports that come to the board. I also want to thank the groups for their monthly report. We really want to know how you all are doing during this time. So really thank you all for contributing your monthly reports. I went on the COD website and to just see how we're getting out the information. And that COVID-19 resource page is very thorough, has a lot of good information and resources. And I see that it's regularly updated so that the information, it is not old. I think having the Roadrunner chat boxes available in English and Spanish really helps to effectively reach out to as many of our students as we can. I saw that the virtual library and student resource guide there's this section with Ask a Librarian chat box service, and then even offering a Zoom with a librarian for the more technical questions and research issues. Those are really effective tools available to our students. I even saw that there's a relaxation strategies component for students that really, it looks to be very helpful for those that are under the strain from these drastic changes in the teaching methods and the classroom setting. So really want to recognize and thank everybody for their work on that. I also want to recognize, join in recognizing Carol Sobey and the Department of Nursing for their donations of medical equipment and supplies to the healthcare facilities, and really thank them so much for their work. It's kind of been interesting for me, Mr. Chair. To me, this kind of pandemic has exposed some areas that we need to maybe revisit at some point in the future and bring up to date. One of them being like the college's emergency response guide, to include a section titled Response to Communicable Disease Epidemic or Pandemic. And I think this kind of unfortunate episode in all of our lives has really kind of demonstrated the need for this new chapter or section. It's also kind of thrown a new light on the college's master plans and kind of taking this helicopter view, how this health disaster has affected the many plans the college has in place, and our need to, at some point, once we begin turning the proverbial corner on this virus, revisit and update these plans accordingly. And, maybe it doesn't seem like a priority, but, for me, master plans serve as kind of the lifebuoy or life jacket, as it's the future of the district. And it's kind of like, okay, here's what we said and committed to, here's where we're going, and here's how we plan to get there. So obviously this COVID-19 has thrown us off the planning tracks, and we need to revisit our master plans and kind of factor in what's happened and include what we've learned into updating those plans. For example, I know John Ramon is working on this. We need to revisit our budget for next fiscal year and include the projected budget for the following fiscal year. We have our educational master plan that goes through 2022, our strategic master plan, which goes through 2021, addressing student success, et cetera. There's also our facilities master plan. We need to see how we hold up from our affected revenue streams. And then our 5-year construction plan, how has all that now changed? So again, I think at some point we need, when everything calms down a little bit, is to go back to the drawing board on these plans. Again, it's more of a helicopter view, Mr. Chair, but I think part of our job as trustees is that we need to put this information on COD's table. And again, want to echo the remarks of my colleagues. Many thanks to the executive team and the president for the work that they're doing. They're having to make some tough calls, but also coming up with very innovative ideas, kind of thinking outside the box. So many thanks to all that are keeping the college and our students moving forward as best we can. That concludes my remarks, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Wilson, and I will add to yours during my portion, as I agree totally with what you said. Trustee Sanchez-Fulton?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, can you hear me? Thank you. So first of all, I hope everyone is safe and everything is good for all our families here in the desert. College of the Desert has been ahead of the curve. I'm very proud to be part of a team where resilience in the time of chaos has been so commendable. The talented and dedicated faculty and staff to go online on March 30th and taking care of these tasks have been commendable. We're still, I echo what my other trustees have said, the needs of our students, first and foremost, is very important. In particular, the most vulnerable students. So 3 things I'd like to, the calls that I've been getting in my community is, we have a lot of students that have lost their jobs during this pandemic. And a lot of them are calling me and saying, so if I'm working at the college, do I still get paid? Or my instructors are giving me so much information that right now I can't do it. So I just want to know through our minute to be more mindful of our students that are that are feeling anxiety and don't know what's really going on at this time, that we need to be more, how do I say, at the meeting that I just want to go on the meeting that I attended for the California League of Board of Trustees. The concern that we got from the Board of Trustees students were they are being inundated with a lot of emails. However, they're feeling very overwhelmed, the students, and we need to, I know we have these great resources for counseling, but we also have to remind our faculty and our staff that these are students that are going in new times, that the pressures are very, very real for them. And I want to know and get an update about the pass and no pass function that the state has recommended for classes and the policies we have in place in regards the students on withdrawing during this time. Also, another concern I heard in the community was the financial aid disbursement. Some students are getting them, some students aren't. That's what I've heard from the community. And also, I want to applaud the college virtual meetings that we're having for our undocumented students to give them support. I'm wondering if we have other support measures for our disabled, our EOP, if we're going to be having those virtual support meetings for them. I'm also concerned about the food scarcity. Some colleges throughout California are providing gift cards for students to use at the grocery store for their food issues, their food insecurity issues. So that's something that I'm very, very, very concerned about for a lot of our College of the Desert students. Also wanted to tell everyone I've been going to a lot of Zoom meetings with my fellow Board of Trustees throughout California. And one of the meetings was in particular mindfulness, for creating mindfulness and counseling for a lot of our students, or even our faculty and staff, in areas and more resources. I know the college is providing that, but to give them that there are more resources available for them, not just for the students, but our faculty and staff. Just attending a lot of the Zoom meetings on behalf of the college. The one in particular that brought to my attention, and I would love the college to present, is the amount that was given from higher education to all the colleges. So I would like to get an update with John about the new stimulus, the CARES Act, that will be given to higher education institutions throughout the United States. And something that Trustee Wilson brought up, board policies. Throughout our meetings with my fellow California trustees, we are very concerned about policies, the new normal, they've been calling it, in regards to setting policies on online learning. I will be submitting a policy that was given from the biggest institution in regards to online instructions. And so we have, in the future, something, a master plan on online teaching and policy on virtual, because currently we do not have anything in place on policies in regards to online teaching. And safety for the instructor and the students, and privacy for the faculty and students. So we're all in uniform how we teach. So I want to echo what Trustee Wilson said. As a helicopter, just making sure that we have policies in place for this new normal, especially in regards to online instruction, and policies in regards to the new normal for our students, since we are going to be giving pass, no pass. That was recommended from the Chancellor's office grades. So that's something that, and I will be emailing the report that I received from the California Community College League to in my report. So I want to advise my other trustees, please attend. There's going to be a next meeting, April. Actually, the league will be putting that on for all the trustees. This is very important that we get informed on what the best practices of other community colleges are doing. It was a very vibrant talk throughout the whole state in regards to the policies that are now in place, and how to utilize the FEMA for the College of the Desert and other federal institutions that are available for us. So this concludes my report a lot, but I want everyone to keep safe, to keep mindful, and keep peace. Stay safe and wear your mask. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trustee Sanchez-Fulton. As everyone knows, April is Community College Month, and that gives us the opportunity to think about what is a community college. And one way to think about it is that it's a delivery system for student services. And now's the time to really make words of appreciation to faculty and support staff that are continuing the functions of the college. A college is a building, it's a service, and we're delivering that service. So many thanks to all those people that have been working so hard to make that possible. Secondly, obviously, this is not a glitch. This is something that's going to affect us long term. And that means probably how we think about delivering our services to students may change. And as Trustee Wilson first mentioned, and as Trustee Sanchez-Fulton echoed, we need to begin to think about what the future holds for delivering the services of community colleges. And it may change in the future. So even though people are busy, working hard, we do need to begin to think about what the future is and how it might change what we do and how we do it. And many items were raised, and I would like to summarize the points so that President Kenneman could cover these in his remarks. President Kenneman, the first is if you could answer some questions about the rest of the semester, answer some questions about student computer access, and then I'm going to group a whole bunch of these together in terms of student support services. And would you care to address those in your comments, President Kenneman?
Certainly. So first, I want to thank the trustees for being aware of the issues and challenges, taking the time to read the materials that are coming from the Chancellor's office and that we distribute, and your comments are clearly demonstrate you're very well versed on some of the challenges the transition has taken, and also, you know, some of the opportunities that probably lie ahead. And many of the things that were touched on from planning and how this can potentially redefine us, I believe is a great opportunity for us. It's going to take a lot of leadership and probably us being bolder in some of our initiatives. Before I get into some of those points, I want to acknowledge Dr. Dozier, her leadership with the Faculty Senate, and what she's been putting out to faculty, encouraging them to really do what they need, what is needed to support each individual student, because this time period is impacting people in so many different ways. Probably not one household is being impacted the same as another household. And I'd like to also commend both the College Desert Faculty Association, CSEA, with working with us on negotiating the impacts during this time period in a timely manner, a very collaborative manner. In addition, the leadership of the college, they are all involved with their colleagues. The CIOs have phone calls. Excuse me. I interact with Region 9 CEOs. There's a Chancellor's webinar this weekly. The CIOs and the CSSOs as well. I know, like today, Vice President Ramont has a meeting with the CBOs, and two of the topics are the CARE and FEMA funding, and there's probably some others. In addition to that, since our last meeting, I've met with our 3 superintendents. We hosted them and our dean from CSUSB Palm Desert campus. And we're going to be having regular meetings. We're looking at every 2 weeks because we understand that while we have these relationships statewide on some of the broader issues impacting us, that we have some very unique challenges that are shared challenges that are local, including some of the comments brought up regarding accessibility of our students in different parts of our community. There were several items that were brought up on the student support services. I think part of it was the Zoom sessions. At this time, I'm going to just ask my VPs one at a time on some of those topics that were brought up, if they can address to greater detail. But before I do that, it is clear from what we received from the county that we will be in this situation through mid-June, and that we will be continuing with an online summer offering. There's been some concern about that Coachella Valley is unique within Riverside County, and that some of the decisions by local county officials may not be sufficient for the demographics that we serve, and that we probably are in an environment that will be needing to be much more conservative on taking care of the health of our communities. And again, I mentioned a group that I'm working with, and through that group, we're also working with the governor's office on that, so that we can ensure that Coachella Valley is thoughtful on how they address this pandemic. So at this time, I'd like to start with Vice President Baker, if he could speak a little bit on some of the students' support programs.
Sure. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So yes, first I want to thank our faculty and staff for really reacting so quickly to support our students. It's the student has been at the forefront of their mind, and that has been their focus since we started this, and they've been absolutely fantastic. You know, we continue to provide counseling service, whether through general counseling. Someone mentioned this DSPS. We're providing it through DSPS, programs like DOPS, our veteran services, CalWorks. So we're providing online counseling through Cranium Cafe for all of our students at that. In addition, we are providing mental health counseling through our health center, and we have that going. But the bottom line is each of the programs has been able to move the majority of their services online. Our tutoring center is completely online. We have student tutors. We have our staff are providing services online. They've created even kind of drop-in type sessions, when group sessions where students can just drop in during certain hours and ask questions. So we've got a myriad of services that we've moved to the online format to be able to continue to support our students with all of our programs. And so I don't know if there are any specifics, President Kimman, that you would like me to go into beyond that, but the main thing is that each of the programs at the institution and student services is been moving their services online. When you look at financial aid and admissions, and I believe it was mentioned, Chabot was mentioned, we're doing a lot of service there, and we've been collecting numbers on that, and it's really being utilized by our students. So we know that that's been very successful. So I think right now, go ahead. Okay, no feedback. So right now, I believe that we've really got that student focus, and we're being able to meet our student needs, but we're learning more and more as we go, right? As this is evolving and more students are coming with different types of needs, we're ready to address those needs.
Okay. Thank you, Vice President Baker. Vice President Neary, I know there was one topic related to the pass, no pass, and some of the withdrawal things that we discussed that that you might elaborate a little bit on, and if you can go into some of the impacts those decisions have on students that might be transferring to other institutions as well.
So thank you, Dr. Kinnaman. And before I answer the question, I also want to thank the faculty and staff and the college community, board, and leadership for this incredible migration. We're considered one of the best in the state for the response considering the current situation. Now, it's just it happened to be published today. An article came out, and I can forward that to the president's office on the pass and no pass. Even though there's a rush and maybe an urgency for pass or no pass or satisfactory or not satisfactory, there's not a uniform response at the university level, and there's not a uniform response in terms of how that impacts the GPA if it does at all, which means when a student is provided the pass and no pass option, there is a likelihood that they can't get the transfer, even if they're trying to transfer outside of a Cal State and the UCs. And even though the Cal States and the UCs did announce their acceptance of those grades, they're not uniform in how they're going to do it and how that's going to impact their admissions records, admissions and records offices. And also, people don't realize there are GPA requirements for pre-health programs, and pass and no pass is typically not calculated. And again, there's not a uniform national response at the university level for that. And sometimes it's calculated as a C, which also removes the students from being competitive in the pre-health programs. So what, instead of getting into more detail, there's a great article that just came out about PBS about the pass and no pass, that the rush to it, and that there is long-term unintended consequences to students. And I will send that today to immediately to the president's office, Dr. Kinnaman, so you are able to share, and it will provide more detailed answers. And then in terms of the withdrawals, people do not understand that even though the state issued some orders on withdrawals, there is local decision and messaging that has to happen. And even though the state issued withdrawals and the emergency withdrawals, they're not in line with the Department of Education, which means for those colleges who jumped into those withdrawals early without understanding the consequences to students, a lot of those students have just found out they have to return their financial aid because it didn't meet the minimum percentage threshold to be issued their full financial aid. So where students thought it would be an easy resolution and colleges thought it'd be an easy answer, now there are thousands of students in the state who owe thousands of dollars in federal financial aid, and there's other unintended consequences. So VP Baker and his team have been working diligently. They have notified their students on financial aid already, and they sent out that notice last week. I have notified the instructional faculty that the last day to drop with a W is still as scheduled, which is April 24th, and that Student Services is working on a memo regarding how the emergency withdrawal will work at our college. But they did it very carefully to make sure we passed that 60% threshold for the federal financial aid and Department of Education guidelines so that the students would not have to return their financial aid money. And Dr. Kinnaman, do you want me to answer the question on access to technology?
Yes, please. I missed that. Thank you.
Okay. So the minute we found out of the closure, IT, VP Rahman and Sherry Willis did an amazing job and collected all of the available Chromebooks that the college had at the time. And we sent out notices for instructional faculty to refer students who said they don't have access to a computer. We were able to issue Chromebooks within a 24-hour timeline at the roundabout while still practicing social distance policy. We are happy to say we passed out all available Chromebooks at the college, and IT was already on top of it and ordered additional Chromebooks, which will be distributed on Monday. In terms of access to technology, the counselors have been working with the instructional faculty. The instructional faculty did call outs for attendance, and students who didn't respond or were having difficulty, counselors called at home, cell phones, and interacted with those students to see what they needed and put it on a Google Sheet for my team and IT team. And we already have a list of Wi-Fi hotspots, over 50 that students need. And IT did an incredible job. There are not very, as you can imagine, hotspots are not available right now. They were able to work with T-Mobile, who will start delivering our first few hotspots on Monday, and we will start shipping them out to students.
And then I think that also, do you have the data on the number of cameras that were distributed and that information? And
yes, so we distributed webcams to both faculty and students as requested, also within a 24-hour period. We ordered over 200, and from what I understand, we have already delivered about 100. And as soon as students and or faculty request a webcam, we ship it the next day with same day or overnight shipping.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Vice President Ramont, was there anything in that series that you should address?
Yeah, I think, thank you, Dr. Kinnaman and trustees. So, you know, we're clearly in a very uncertain time, and financial people never like uncertainty. But there's some priorities that we have set. And certainly getting payments out has been a priority of the college as well as the legislature to ensure that employees and our student workers continue to get paid, as well as our vendors that we rely on. So our staff has been working very hard, most of it remotely from home, to ensure that all of that's happening. As far as the FEMA money goes, we're in the application period right now. We're looking at what's going to be eligible. And unfortunately for that, it's probably not as much as people would like to think, because it's not general aid. It's aid to respond specifically to things. And there's a lot of, and so for both FEMA and CARES, we're waiting for guidance to come out. And in the meantime, we're doing as much training as possible, particularly on the back end of the house, to make sure that we are eligible for everything possible that, you know, we might be able to. And so the CARES money, we're anticipating a substantial amount of money, but we're still waiting on release of that, as well as guidance on how that has to be spent, because it's been very sketchy so far. There's just broad parameters, and we're waiting for actual guidance from U.S. Department of Education. And then Trustee Wilson did mention also our budget development. I appreciate that, because right now the Department of Finance at the state level is just being very candid to say they have no idea how all this is going to shake out. And so they've made recommendations for budget development with different scenarios, which is we're going to be following that recommendation and look at various scenarios. For us, we've had a healthy fund balance, and that will be our buffer as we get adjusted to whatever it is that comes down the road. But that's kind of how we're looking at things from a fiscal side. That's it for me.
Okay. And the only other thing I might add, as far as looking to the future and what it might be like, is I did go as far as summer, but we are trying to reframe our thinking because this is all new and we want to have contingency plans. So the schedule that's been put for fall is a schedule of classes that we are committed to offering. However, we have provided a disclaimer to that in light of the environment we're in, that schedule may be face-to-face, but it has a potential of also being online. meeting I was in with Congressman Reese on Monday and other healthcare providers, strongly believe that this will have a resurgence in the fall. And they also see that our us peaking in the June time period. And then the last thing I just like to bring to folks' attention, if you haven't read it, in the opinion page of the Desert Sun, there's a COD response to ease coronavirus disruption article that was prepared, just talking about what we have done and some of these services that are being provided, that I would encourage you to share with others that might have interest, and I'll also share, as Trustee Wilson had mentioned, our website so that they can be as up to date as we are. And again, I thank the trustees again with working with us and helping us think about some of the challenges and bring things to our attention. But even more than that, I really thank the students for, trying to be adaptable in such a really unsettling world at this time. And if there's not any other questions, then that would conclude my comments.
Thank you, President Kitterman, for responding to all the questions that were raised, and the Vice Presidents as well. Moving to the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda will be considered for approval by a single vote without discussion. Any board may request that an item be pulled from the consent agenda to be discussed and considered separately in the action agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So move.
And that was
so move.
Who made the motion?
Dr. Stefan.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Who was that, please?
Trustee Mary Jane Sanchez.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to pull that item 8.01, approval of emeritus status for Young Shahidi.
Thank you. Any others? Anyone else? Okay. President Kenneman, will you conduct a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Student Trustee Garcia?
Aye.
Trustee Stefan?
Aye.
Trustee Perez?
Aye.
Trustee Wilson?
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez Fulton?
Aye.
Trustee Yant?
Aye. Motion carried unanimously. Item 18.01 was pulled for separate discussion and consideration. Do I have a motion to approve item 18.01 as presented?
So move. Dr. Stefan.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Trustee Sanchez Fulton.
Mr. Chair, this is Carlos.
Yes, Carlos.
I'm sorry. I believe that you said 18.01, but I think you meant 8.01.
Oh, correct.
Trustee Sanchez Fulton, is that correct?
Yes, the one for academic, this one in for 18, it's not 18, why am I saying 18? 8.01, thank you.
So it was not 1801, it was 801?
The one that were the approval of emeritus status.
Okay, so let's back up then. Item 8.01. Carlos, do we need to re-vote on the whole consent agenda?
No, sir. She, in her pulling from the consent agenda, she stated the actual name on it. So that's why I was able to catch it. So I think it's just a clarification.
Right.
Okay. All right. So we will now go to item 8.01 pulled from the consent agenda for separate discussion and consideration. Do I have a motion to approve item 8.01 as presented?
So moved, Dr. Stefan.
Is there a second?
Second, Trustee Garcia.
Okay. Any discussion? Any discussion?
Yeah. I want to discuss that, so that's why I pulled it. Hello?
Yes, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Oh, first of all and foremost, I personally want to commend Dr. Shahidi. He was my first, I worked personally when I taught macro and microeconomics. His professionalism and his dedicated 31 years at the College of the Desert is commendable. When I first got hired at College of the Desert back in 1989, it was commendable in how he mentored a lot of us new faculty members, adjuncts. So I just want to just give kudos to what he has done for the College of the Desert. As I read what he has done, he cares about the students. He cares about us newbie adjunct faculty members that came to the College of the Desert family. And I want to thank him always for being that mentor as a new adjunct professor at the College of the Desert. So I just want to give the utmost for him declaring emeritus status. He's done so much for the College of the Desert and for so many students that he has taught throughout the years. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Shahidi, for providing the students with your awesome instruction and giving someone like me an opportunity to teach at the College of the Desert. Teaching at the College of the Desert was the most part of my life that I will never forget. Thank you so much.
Any other discussion? President Kinnaman, will you conduct a roll call vote?
Yes, sir. Student Trustee Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez Fulton. Trustee Sanchez Fulton. Trustee Yon.
Yes. Did we hear a yes from Trustee Sanchez Fulton?
I believe so.
All right. Motion carried unanimously. 13.01 Board Policy 1100.1 Desert Community College District Location, second reading. Do I have a motion to approve Board Policy 1100.1 Desert Community College District Locations for a second reading as presented?
So moved. This is Trustee Wilson.
Is there a second?
Second. Trustee Mary Sanchez.
Any discussion? Hearing none, President Kinnaman, will you conduct a roll call vote?
Student Trustee Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee Stefan.
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez Fulton.
Aye.
Trustee Yon.
Aye. Motion carried unanimously. 13.02 Resolution number 040820-2 Desert Community College District Month. Do I have a motion to approve resolution number 040820-2 Desert Community College District Month as presented?
So moved, Dr. Stefan.
Is there a second?
Second, Trustee Sanchez Fulton.
Any discussion, please?
Yes, I'd like.
Okay.
Fred, this is Dr. Steffen. I'd like to say that the ACCT has been pushing this since February, and with the coronavirus, I know that a lot of community colleges have kind of let it lag, but I think it's excellent that we're moving forward with it, because at this time, this is one thing that people can do, participate in their education online, and it gives them an opportunity to get away from the inundation of the negativity of the coronavirus. It lets them have a little bit of an escape and growth, and helps them mentally if they can focus on something else sometimes. And so I think it's excellent that we're moving forward with the Community College District Month and getting the word out that we are here, and we are here for people today, just like we were before the coronavirus hit.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? President Kinnaman, will you conduct a roll call vote?
Student Trustee Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee Steffen.
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez Fulton.
Aye.
Trustee Yon.
Aye. Motion carried unanimously. Moving to Human Resources, 15.01, Initial Reopener Proposal, Public Hearing, and Acknowledgement of Reopener Proposal from the California Schools Employee Association and its Chapter 407 to the Desert Community College District. This item is conducting a public hearing under the Educational Employment Relations Act regarding negotiation proposals. Today's public hearing is regarding the reopener proposals from the California School Employees Association, Chapter 407, to the Desert Community District. Following the public hearing, the board will take action to acknowledge the California School Employees Association, Chapter 407 proposals. In accordance with Government Code Section 3547, all bargaining proposals are to be presented at a public meeting of a public school employer, and that is the purpose of today's hearing. Since today's hearing pertains to public hearings held prior to the opening of negotiations, it is not appropriate for, nor will members of the Board of Trustees comment on any of the negotiation proposals. The Board of Trustees opens the public hearing for the reopener proposal for negotiations from the California School Employees Association, Chapter 407 to the Desert Community College District. Speakers who wish to address this item, please email your remarks to opp@collegeofthedesert.edu, and your remarks will be incorporated into the meeting minutes. Let's pause for a moment for Julia to check email.
I'm confirming that we have not received any comments at this time.
I now close the public hearing. Now we move to take action on the California School Employees Association Chapter 407 proposal. It is recommended by the district that the Board of Trustees vote to acknowledge the reopener proposal from the California School Employees Association Chapter 407. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
So moved, Dr. Steffen.
Is there a second?
Second, Trustee Perez.
Any discussion? President Kinnaman, please conduct a roll call vote.
Student Trustee Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee Steffen.
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to clarify, I apologize. In the written report, the recommended action includes to acknowledge the College of the Desert Adjunct Association's proposal. Is that, I just wanted to make sure that we're voting on the right item.
We are voting on California School Employees Association, Chapter 407.
I see what I see that, and that is an error in the action. It should be, and you're referring to the recommended action, Trustee Wilson, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, that should be revised to say it should have CSEA in there. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So with that clarification, then I vote yes.
Carlos, are we okay where we are?
Yes.
Okay. President Kenneman, continue with the vote.
Trustee Sanchez Fulton.
Aye.
Trustee Yant.
Aye. Motion carried unanimously. Board of Trustees hereby acknowledges the reopener proposal for negotiations from the California School Employees Association, Chapter 407, to the Desert Community College District. The parties may hereby commence negotiations. Moving on to 15.02. Initial reopener proposal, public hearing, and the adoption of reopener proposals from the Desert Community College District to California School Employees Association and its Chapter 407. Was there a comment? This item is conducting a public hearing under the Educational Employment Relations Act regarding education proposals. Today's public hearing is regarding the reopener proposal from the Desert Community College District to the California School Employees Association, Chapter 407. Following the public hearing, the board will take action to adopt the Desert Community College District's proposals. In accordance with Government Code Section 3547, all bargaining proposals are to be presented at a public meeting of a public school employer, and that is the purpose of today's hearing. Since today's hearing pertains to public hearings held prior to the opening of negotiations, it is not appropriate for, nor will members of the Board of Trustees comment on any of the negotiation proposals. The Board of Trustees opens the public hearing for the reopener proposals for negotiations from the Desert Community College District to the California School Employees Association, Chapter 407. Speakers who wish to address this item, please email your remarks to otp@collegeofthedesert.edu, and your remarks will be incorporated into the meeting minutes. Julia, were there any emails at this time?
I'm confirming we have not received any at this point.
Thank you. I now close the public hearing. Now we move to take action on the Desert Community College District's reopener proposals. It is recommended by the district that the Board of Trustees vote to adopt the reopener proposals from the Desert Community College District. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved, Dr. Steffen.
Is there a second?
Second, Trustee Perez.
Any discussion? President Kenneman, will you conduct a roll call vote?
Student Trustee Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee Steffen.
Aye.
Trustee Perez.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez Fulton.
Aye.
Trustee Yant.
Aye. Motion carried unanimously. The Board of Trustees hereby adopts the reopener proposals for negotiations from the Desert Community College District to the California School Employees Association, Chapter 407. The parties may hereby commence negotiations. Moving to item 16, Administrative Services budget revisions. Do I have a motion to approve the budget revisions as presented?
Move, Trustee.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second, Dr. Steffen.
Any discussion? President Kinnaman, will you conduct a roll call vote?
Okay. Student Trustee Garcia,
Aye.
Trustee Steffen,
Aye.
Trustee Perez,
Aye.
Trustee Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez Fulton, Trustee Sanchez, thank you. Trustee Yant.
Aye. Motion carried unanimously. Item 16.2, resolution number 040820-1, authorization to encumber funds for the following fiscal year. Do I have a motion to approve resolution number 040820-1, authorization to encumber funds for the following fiscal year as presented?
So moved, Dr. Steffen.
Second?
So moved, Dr. Steffen.
Is there a second?
Second, Trustee Perez.
Any discussion? Hearing none, President Kinnaman, will you conduct a roll call vote?
Student Trustee Garcia,
Aye.
Trustee Steffen,
Aye.
Trustee Perez,
Aye.
Trustee Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez Fulton,
Aye.
Trustee Yant.
Aye. Motion carried unanimously. Item 17.01, Administrative Procedure Review. President Kinnaman, will you present?
Certainly. This is, I'm trying to pull it up, sorry. On the residency determination and the course adds and drops, I would like to ask Vice President Neary and Vice President Baker if they could comment on those.
Sure.
I'll go.
This is, go ahead.
This is VP.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'll defer to VP Baker.
I'm sorry. What did you say? I didn't hear that.
I'm sorry, Baker. I said I would defer to you.
Oh, okay. So on the residency determination, just so you know, the red is the mandate by the league, the Community College League of California, and then the blue changes are changes just made by the district itself. The main piece for the residency determination is that a student seeking to enroll in career or college preparation courses, they shall not be subject to the residency classification requirement, the normal residency classification. So they're kind of exempt from the residency requirement if they're just doing career development or college prep courses. Then let me pull the other one up quick. The red line for the adds and drops. So the course adds, drops, and withdrawals, again, the red, there's a lot here, but basically we just followed the league language. Most of it's league language that we put in just to update the BP and APs for course adds and drops. And then the blue stuff is more specific to the colleges in regards to our process to make it all flow together. So that one's pretty straightforward. Again, it's most of it, the withdrawals, it's around logistics. So for example, withdrawals or drops are authorized through the last day of the 14th week of instruction or 75% of the term, whichever is left. So again, we're following the league language. Any updates, we wanted to make sure we update that into our process as well.
I have a question, Trustee Sanchez-Fulton.
Yes.
I'm looking at it, so the blue language is the College of the Desert. I'm concerned because of this one, because of the COVID, I don't see anything on the language on any of our policies in regards to that in the language. Maybe we, as a suggestion, we can see what comes down the pipe or from the league in regards to add drops and withdrawals. So somewhere maybe I'm concerned of maybe to bring that back again, or I right now I'm hesitant to vote on it because I think that it's going to change.
So
I
we
want
are.
like,
So
or
there's.
add.
Sure. So this process started before, really. I mean, this had gone through the process internally with the college. This is kind of before the whole thing hit, because it takes time to run it through the different constituent groups as a part of that. I just wanted to assure you, and Dr. Neri mentioned earlier, that we are following, when it comes to withdrawals, we are following the Chancellor's Office recommendations, and we will be doing that. So we will look at that and figure a way to, if we need to implement something into our own procedures, we will absolutely take that step. So thank you.
And
So
as
this
a
is
follow-up,
template?
yes, as a follow-up to that, the red is the league recommendation. And typically with the league recommendations on administrative procedures, they normally don't name a specific emergency incident or pandemic like we're experiencing in COVID-19. What they do is account for a grading system. And what you're looking at today is the recommendation on what is called the excused withdrawal, or the EW, sometimes referred to as the emergency withdrawal. That last paragraph in Administrative Procedure 5075 was the recommended legal language to deal with what we're dealing with today.
57, okay.
Board members, this is an information-only item. It is not.
Oh, thank you.
Requires a vote. So.
Okay, thank you so much.
We've received it as an information item. Moving to study session. Viewers and trustees, during the study session, you're able to view the slides online. The study session is on the Indio Child Development Center schematic design presentation by HMC. And President Kinnaman, do you want to introduce MAC in this presentation?
Certainly, thank you. We've got Mac McGinnis here with Moss that has prepared this presentation for us. And so Mac, are you prepared to present?
Yes, I am.
All right.
So good morning, board chair, trustees, Dr. Kinnaman, staff. This is Mac McGinnis with the Bond Office. I'm here today to present to you the Indio Child Care Development Center. As many of you know, the area there, the land for this project was purchased by the district a few months ago. It is located just south of the existing Indio campus in an area where there was an old Safeway. I have on the line with us today Ken Sawyer with HMC. They are the design team that was selected to design this project. And not to delay things, I will have Ken now speak about the schematic design package for this project. Ken?
Thank you, Mac, and good morning, everyone. For the sake of time, we'll go through this rapidly, but we can certainly have time at the end for questions. So I'm going to call out the page numbers as we go along. You can see we're going to go to page 2 now, which really deals with the purpose and kind of the agenda for today's approach. We're presenting schematic design. Schematic design is really like the first phase of the design process, and then we'll develop it further and further as the project goes along. We're going to cover the functions and uses of the building, the relationship with the existing campus and the community, and a little bit about the materials and the structure. Going to page 3 as an introduction. So this is the construction of a new child development center, and it also houses an early childhood education classroom as well as child play areas and parking. want to bring your attention to the images at the bottom. This is if you're looking at Oasis Street and you're looking east, and you'll see on the right-hand side of the image, it's called out as a new Child Development Center. In the middle of that image is the existing Indio Center, and then on the far left is the Indio expansion project, which is underway as well in design. Going to page 4, this is some of the project goals that this project has. And there's pretty clear community outreach, creating a campus feeling that has a mission in place, emphasizing safety and security for staff and students, providing clear wayfinding. And then anytime you're dealing with the Childhood Development Center, along with early childhood education, it's the separate access for both of those. And we'll cover that more as we move forward. On page 5 is the project overview, and I won't go into all the details here. We present these so you have an understanding of what this all includes. It does include demolition of a small single-story building with a basement as part of the first phase. But that's, again, some of the details for the project itself. We'll move over to page 6. And this is the campus plan. And this is showing the campus plan not only for the new Child Development Center on the left, but also the mid-block, which is the existing Indio classroom building. And then on the far right, the proposed expansion. The intent in all of this is that green dashed line, which is the visual link. We want to be able to make it clear as you're walking from any of these buildings where that visual link to the entrance point is for the new Child Development Center across RECWA. It kind of continues that urban fabric as we go along. Moving to page 7. This is the site plan of the CDC, and you can see it's kind of a courtyard scheme, and at its heart in that courtyard is a toddler outdoor play area, and then there's a separation of an internal fence, and on the left you'll see a preschool outdoor play area. And the preschool outdoor play area is protected by 8-foot-high concrete block walls, so the intent is to keep this very safe area and secluded for the children. You'll also see there's a delivery zone in between the parking lot and the Child Development Center, servicing the kitchen and the rest of the facility. And then on the far right and bottom corner, I want to point out the CDC entrance and the ECE entry for the early childhood education. So the entrance to the building for the public, whether it be students or parents or children, is all controlled through that point. We will move to page 8. This is an imagery of the East Campus entrance. This is coming into what was formerly Civic Center Mall. And you're driving west, and you'll see in that yellow shaded rectangle on the far left, that is the image of the CDC project. To the right of that, you'll see peeking through the landscaping, the existing Indio building. And then on the right, a little bit subtle behind the trees, you'll see the expansion project that's happening on that side. So again, the intent is that even the Childhood Development Center is visible from the main entry, and it's tied across a unified campus. Going to page 9, this kind of just gives an overall view of the building organization. The early childhood education is that orange color in the middle. As you can see, it's flanked by the green toddler and preschool classroom areas, and that's intentional so that we can have viewing windows from those areas into each of those classrooms. That's what we're doing at the Palm Desert campus at that particular facility, and it's a common way of having students learn about early childhood education. You can see the other support areas. The yellow is the staff, the blue is the main entry. The gray in this example is the entrance for the students. And again, if you look at those circles at the bottom of the image, those are the main control entry points for students on the left and the public on the right. Going to page 10.
Wilson.
Yeah.
Hi. I had a question. Is it a single story or?
Good question. Yes, it is a single story building.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Sure. Page 10 is the floor plan. And you can see we're using that same kind of colors that you saw in the previous building organization diagram. But you can kind of get a sense for the way that the courtyards have the classrooms for the toddlers and the preschool surrounding that. There's very much an emphasis on the indoor-outdoor connection in that area. We'll move on to page 11. We'll start looking at some of the imagery on the outside. This is a view of the entry from RECWA Avenue. And you can kind of see in the imagery, you'll see large letters that say ECE at the front door of the early childhood education. And then you see the Child Development Center, CDC. entrance there. So again, the intent is to make the entrance very clear to the public. And you start to see a little bit of that mid-century modern architecture that we're carrying throughout the campus, which is very common to the Coachella Valley. And just kind of have a transparency of the facade so you know what's happening in that waiting entrance area there. Moving on to page 12, this is a view from Oasis Street. So this is the kind of south edge of the that preschool play area that we saw in the plan view. And you'll see, again, the concrete block walls. Again, this is patterned textured blocks. So it's, again, tying into mid-century modern, architectural styles. And then trying to cover the same kind of signage and color aspect throughout the block. So we're matching the color emphasis that's on the existing Indio building, and then the new expansion project will do more of the same. So that materiality and the colors carry throughout the entire campus there. You see some of the landscaping on the corner there too, again, emulating that Palm Desert campus type of drought-tolerant landscaping. Going to page 13, this is a view from the parking lot. You're kind of looking north, again, with the signage and the colors, but the intent is that that sidewalk then takes you down to the entrance of the building. Going to page 14, this is from the alleyway that currently exists on the east side of the building. And again, just to kind of give you an idea of some of the campus character being maintained there, and the palm trees indicating where the main front entrance is. Moving on to page 15. This is one of the courtyard views. This happens to be the northerly one, the toddler outdoor play area. And Diane Russell and her staff do a fantastic job with their kids in the program of really emphasizing the outdoors and keeping things very natural and native. And we've tried to move that through here. Also, the importance of the indoor-outdoor connectivity. You can see on the right side of the building wing there is a mother and child going into a large opening. We have these stackable sliding glass doors that on favorable days allow us to have that direct indoor-outdoor connection. Moving on to page 16, this is the preschool outdoor play area, which is a little bit further south than the other one. And again, if you look on the far left, right above the sandbox, you can get another view into one of those indoor-outdoor connections that we're doing. And again, the emphasis on a natural outdoor play environment. Page 17 is some of the interior views of the waiting areas. On the left is the Child Development Center waiting, reception, class sign-in. And then on the right side is the early childhood education waiting area. And you'll see some soft seating for the students there, and that's what we call sticky space. We're looking for those opportunities for students not to leave campus, but to hang around while they're waiting for class to start or even in between. So that's the intent there. And again, that transparency from the indoor to the outdoor so that people know what's happening in those areas. The final page, on page 18, is the view again from Requa Avenue. Again, calling out some of that pattern block that you see on the right side, the kind of low slung single-story profile, and then the emphasis of the entry with the large transparency there, facing north and capturing those students and the public as they enter the project. Our opening date for this project is fall of 2022, and that completes my presentation.
Thank you. Mac or President Kenneman, do you have comments?
Go ahead, Mac.
Yeah, so this concludes the schematic design piece. Again, as Ken said, the Child Development Center and the Dean for the Child Development Center was intimately involved in this project. And I think the building turned out, it meets all of their needs. Even the architecture ties to the rest of the campus. And it just, it lends itself to a whole entire campus rather than each separate building. It really tends to tie together, especially with the branding of the red elements that you saw. It's going to be carried out through the existing building and the new expansion building as well. But other than that, are there any questions?
I have a question. Going back to page 16 of the presentation, when you're looking at the outside play area, I do have a concern that the gated area, I guess it's a gated area where the delivery trucks deliver the food and stuff. Is there any way that that could be made more solid so that somebody couldn't come along and photograph students or
yeah, we could
observe them
that's
from
something we
the
could do.
outside? That would be a concern for me.
Yeah, we could absolutely do that with a solid gate material rather than bars that you could look through.
Yeah, I just think it would be safer for the children. The other thing that I was looking at, I really like the design. I like the fact that you have lots of shade, particularly from the Oasis side, that big screen going up to prevent the extra sun coming in for the students, especially that afternoon sun that can be extremely hot coming from the west side there. So I really, really like that a lot. And I think that's, I just love the design. It just looked very beautiful and very laid out. And I'm glad it's only one story because it's less problematic, especially with little children. Since that was one of my first majors, this is a big concern for me. And I like the fact that we have multiple places for the toddler activity and the preschool activity, some places that maybe cannot be visualized from the ECE class labs observation room. Because that way, if they're doing something else that they don't want the students distracted from, that they wouldn't be distracted at all from the big windows or anything. So that I thought was really excellent. Just some really, really nice design there. I just really like that. Thank you.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Yes, Trustee Mary Jane Sanchez. First of all, thank you, AMC, and thank you, Moss, for putting on such a beautiful design. If we could turn to page 9, building organization, page 10, floor plan.
Yes.
I'm concerned in this new normal that we're building buildings for the future, that we incorporate an emergency room. I'm looking for an emergency room in case of an earthquake, a flood, a tornado, and a pandemic all at once. Maybe in our new designs in our new buildings to have a room. I see everything, waiting room, but I would love to see one of our storage rooms or have a specific room called an emergency room, maybe for designed in the future for our buildings, have an area specifically for supplies. Thank you. And I would love to see that. I don't see that in the schematic. Is a storage room going to be made? I would just like to allocate an emergency storage room for supplies, waters, whatever we're going to be needing. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yes, this is Trustee Wilson. I was wondering about, one of the things I love about the McCarthy Child Development Center is the vegetable garden, the outdoors that we have. Is that being planned for the Indio Center?
I don't know that we've. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if we've gotten into that detail yet, but it's certainly not precluded.
Okay. And I also agree with my colleagues. I love seeing the outdoor play equipment in the shaded areas, particularly because of the heat, but also because of the wind. We get some pretty bad winds in that area. And to me, when you're driving, looking at these schematics, it looks just like, it doesn't look like a child care center. It looks like another building. But I would suppose that with the wonderful creativity of our director, Diane Russum, and her staff, that they're, and the children that will be running around all over the place, that it'll be looking like a 5-star child care center. So thank you so much.
Anyone else? President Kenneman, comments?
No, I just thank both our presenters for providing that presentation and responding to the trustees' questions.
I'd like to comment on the continued quality work from HMC. They certainly have had an impact on the College of the Desert and appreciate their consistent good work.
Thank you.
Thank you for that information. We move to future agenda items. Board members, please submit any future agenda items to the board secretary, and they will be incorporated into the meeting minutes. We would like to close today's public meeting in memory of Arlene Schnitzer. It is with heavy heart that I share with you news of the passing of one of our foundation board members, Mrs. Arlene Schnitzer. Arlene and her late husband, Harold, who died in 2011, were widely known in both the Coachella Valley and the Portland area for their philanthropy and love of the arts. They and their foundation, the Harold and Arlene Schnitzer Care Foundation, have contributed locally to numerous nonprofit organizations and charities, including the College Foundation, the McCallum Theater, and the Palm Springs Art Museum. Part of the college dates back many years, including having served on the foundation board since 2013-14. She and her family have been extremely generous, sponsoring many critically needed foundation efforts, including being a title sponsor for Stepping Out for COD multiple years and actively supporting the Academic Angels and giving to the 30-30 campaign, just to name a few. Besides their monetary giving, the Schnitzers had an extensive collection of paintings and sculptures that they willingly shared with the world. Just last year, the college's Marx Art Center exhibited Jenny Holzer, The Power of Words, from the collection of Jordan Schnitzer and the Schnitzer Family Foundation, which opened with a reception hosted by Jordan Schneitzer, College of the Desert students and faculty. Joining them were Desert X leadership, visitors from Portland, and a special group from the American Federation of Arts from New York. Arlene has had an enormous impact on our students and their success. She will be greatly missed. And so today we close our meeting in honor of this remarkable member of the College of the Desert family. The public meeting, our public session is now recessed as the trustees go into closed session. At this time, the board recess to closed session. The live streaming portion of this meeting will conclude at this time. Should there be any reportable action from closed session, I will report it to the board secretary, which will get incorporated into the meeting minutes and posted before the end of business today. So we are now in recess and will reconvene in 10 minutes in closed session. Thank you all.